Okay, in this one, what we're going to do again, and I'll have it at the end screen and link it in the description to the playlist that also contains where we're using Lydian with major, but in a different. This way we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to pivot off the tritone of the Lydian 7 chord to the major 4 chord. Okay, this is a really dramatic. It produces a very dramatic effect. And interestingly enough, gives you another option to throw in another Lydian 1-2 move inside of this very sequence on the 4 chord of the major switch over. I'll show you this in a second. It's hard to understand and explain it out loud. But first, I want to talk about thematic development. This, because the Lydian part we're using is actually almost the same exact theme restated from a this. I'll show you the part area here. From a full piece, okay. This theme. Okay, so later on, well, I'll play through the theme real quick. I talked about this theme in a previous video in this same playlist about using borrowed chords and that temporary Lydian 1-2 on borrowed chords. But later on in the piece, I actually modulate around for a bit and then come back to D as the root, but turn it into Lydian. Okay, almost the same exact part. Oh, this is my sketch right here, but right here. I'll just go ahead and fade this out in a second. So this actually gives us an important lesson here too, is especially if you've studied like classical masters, you realize you don't need a lot of thematic material to create an entire piece of music. So we're using this thematic material now over D Lydian, interchanging with chords of D major via the tritone pivot. So let me play it really quick, just a simple block chord version. Tritone pivot, Lydian 1-2 almost kind of sound, then back to the Lydian 1 of the original Lydian key. So Lydian 1, 3, 7, tritone pivot, major 4, between the major 5, acting like a temporary Lydian again. So back to the 1, Lydian 1, 3, 7, and tritone effect, but with the D in the bass over the G. And then I just did a little bit of which sets us up for a great way to go back to our original root D, playing a really simplified version. And not even exact, because I have a lot of counter lines in the actual orchestrated version where there's a lot of contrapuntal movement. But now leaving the theme, okay, and just using parallel minor tricks to get us back to the 5 chord of D. So let's go ahead and just play it back one more time, and then we're going to do an experiment. Okay, so that's these 2 lessons here, using the same thematic material to create an entirely different section. Okay. Later on, I might do a series on just using the same motifs over and over again to create a through composed piece of music. So here's an experiment. Let's take this. So let's say you just want to introduce part of that theme within your music, okay? You could use the same trick. Let's use the tritone effect by using the Lydian 7 chord. So really just finding ways to use your same thematic material in various situations. Let's redo it. Let's pivot off that Lydian 7 chord tritone effect to the major area and return in a different way. Okay, so this is almost unlimited. You could use that tritone effect as a pivot chord for constant modulation, which is partial aspects of your theme. So I'm not going to get out of hand. So thematic development is very important, but you could use this same exact effect, pivoting off that Lydian 7, one right here, tritone, treating that as new Lydian, Lydian 7, tritone, then just moving towards E flat major. Okay. Now that's only for people who are really good at modulating, creating harmonic sequences. So being able to restate your themes partially, fully, but in a completely different mode and feel. You don't need a lot of thematic material to create something. So no, but the one thing I really want you to focus on, really, that's why I'm keeping these videos very short, is that shifting off the tritone of the Lydian 7 chord to the major key of the same root. Okay, so it's a little bit of modal interchange again. Also, feel free to use any one of these moves that I show you. The only thing you can't take is someone's melody and actual composition in the way they did it, but you could actually take harmonic moves because you can't really copyright that, or else we'd have nothing left to write with. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing these videos, is just to show people a bunch of options using, in this case, Lydian over and over again. We've done it many times in this playlist. Please go back and watch the rest of the playlist. There's like 27 videos now, so